So RJ, why don't you tell us a little bit real quick about where you work and what your role is there and how long you've been there and that kind of thing.
Sure. So I work for Semper Fi Custom Remodeling out of Black Mountain, North Carolina. I'm the project development director. Basically, I handle all the pre-construction, the whole pre-construction process, from the initial touch all the way to closing the sale, and introducing, the client to the project manager, and they take it and run from there.
Awesome. And how long have you been doing that with Semper Fi?
With Semper Fi, I've been here about 3 years, a little over 3 years.
Okay. And how many years were you in sales before you joined Semper Fi? Because you moved in town before that, right?
That's right. Yeah. So I was in Montana before this, and Colorado, but I've been doing sales before these 3 years, 15 years. So.
Oh, really? I didn't realize
Yeah.
it was quite that long.
Yeah. So since I was 18.
Yeah. Well, we're always, you got to get that first date somehow too. It's always sales.
That's right. That's right.
What's been most frustrating in the past when it comes to your sales role? So you've been doing this for a while, 15, 18, 19 years, something like that, it sounds like. So what's been most frustrating historically in that type of a role for you?
I don't think there's any other answer really than when you are going into a presentation or you think in your head, you've got 100% close rate on this person and just something goes wrong and a curveball hits you and you're just, it can affect you emotionally, and can also really just affect your future sales, at least in the short term, because you're kind of in your head. But yeah, I'd say that's probably one of the biggest things for me. It's just losing a sale that you should have had, or just whether it's out of your hands or not. Just the disappointment when that happens.
That's right, and yeah, that's really interesting perspective, and it's true. Anybody in sales knows that to be true. Anybody who manages a sales team may or may not be close enough to it to remember that that's how it moves. So it's an emotional thing.
Oh, yeah.
And there's all this limiting beliefs that we've got to navigate. And some of us, I'll speak for myself, some of us overthink things along the way too, and that gets in the way, slows us down. So I appreciate you sharing that. That's pretty interesting. And it kind of leads into this next question. So we've been in the sale. You've been participating in the sales training. The company's invested in you to be able to participate in the 12-week training. So we're going to have this week. I think it's week 11 this week. So you've been in it for a little while now. What are the top points of clarity that come to mind right now? Without having to go to your notes and whatnot, that are making a difference now already and moving forward, would you say?
Yeah. So I think you're going to learn something in every sales training you take, right? But the action coach training that I've been lucky enough to be a part of, I've just learned things that you don't think of. I think the first thing that really hit me was focusing so much more on the emotion and letting some of my marketing material handle the logic. Just gearing my conversations towards that. They say emotion's 80% of what you buy on. So gearing every conversation I have to that, that's something that was kind of, aha moment, and I've started working on since we started and seen an increase in sales, I think partially because of that. So that would be one. One thing we really weren't doing was the extra touch, and whether it's little things like giving them a thank you card, or it's a big thing like the sales kit you drop off or baseball game tickets, just doing something that makes you different from the competition. Haven't done enough of that in 18 years, and it's just kind of helped me realize, how much weight it can carry. So I think the last thing, kind of the ladder of loyalty and how you gear a conversation or all your conversations with a client to kind of work them up to that top of that ladder where they're an advocate for your company and their word of mouth is spreading like wildfire through them. So really focusing on the whole sales process, incorporating that ladder of loyalty and gearing everything towards that, during the sale, post-sale, everything.
Yeah, that's helpful. Now, Semper Fi's been working with Action Coach in coaching for 5 or 6 years or something, I think it is. And so you guys have a sales process established, which is more than a lot of businesses can say. And you guys have like there's a system for it, and you guys have some specific touch points, some specific materials. And I've noticed and kind of picked up on as we've gone through the sales training that you're participating in, you've been able to take some of these ideas to update that system. So is there one or two updates to that already existing system that have been meaningful so far?
So I think we've dove into our metrics. Like we did a really good job of diving into metrics before, but it's getting a little bit more finite, and it's clarified a lot of things for us. With remodeling, you can split it into numerous different categories: kitchens, bathrooms, whole homes, additions, whatever it might be. But we started keeping metrics on all those different categories, how many jobs. That way we were able to set goals. Like we want 60% of kitchens. Last year we were only at 30. So let's, gear some marketing this way, and to see those percentages climb would definitely be one. Another thing that we've done is added steps. So through the sales training class, I've just found steps that we could do, the extra touches, how to truncate and qualify people earlier with certain questions. So I'm not going on these site visits to people's homes and potentially wasting my time when I could be focusing that on a hot lead or another good prospect. So we've put several more steps in that I've learned through this process that have been really, really helpful.
Yeah, thanks for that. There's a question that was top of mind and then I lost it. It was time, it was quality. So I've got an interesting question. In 18, 19 years of sales, so you've had some people that didn't buy from you, right? Fair enough. So there's been some people that didn't buy from you. Let's just say that there's 100. Based on updates, you lost the sale somehow during that conversation that you were describing earlier. Let's say there's 100 of those. Based on the learnings and some of the updates that are being implemented in the sales process ahead of that sales conversation where it comes down to a decision, what percentage of the 100 do you believe you would have closed?
Yeah, a lot more. It all comes down to the process and structure, right? And just being consistent. And I think younger in my sales years, I didn't have that. I was young and just trying to make a paycheck to get by, and realized how important it is as you get older. But I think everything I've learned in this class, out of 100, let's call it 50-50 in the beginning. And I mean, I'd probably be closer to 70 at this point, 80 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I've grown a lot.
Yeah, of the unconverted ones, 50 to 70% of those could have closed as well. That's a really interesting number.
Yeah, I mean, I also think that sales has changed so much, like almost every decade. When I first started, there was still a little bit of kind of hangover from like the 90s and early 2000s where a pressure sale worked. What I realized early was, despite what these older sales managers were telling me, when I just talk to people like they're people and figure out what they need and do my best to get them that, I mean, it was all a relationship built sale. So I think there's been a huge swing in just 20, 30 years of, where to focus your energies when you're trying to sell a service or a product.
Absolutely. And one thing that, and in one of the other courses that we do, it talks about just what you're talking about. It used to be make a sale, establish rapport over time.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's establish rapport, and then a sale is a byproduct of that having happened. It's completely flipped. I totally agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So I want to ask you this two different ways, thinking about a business owner and then thinking about a salesperson. So RJ, what would you share with a business owner interested in the sales training for their sales team? What do you think would be important for them to know?
If I were a business owner and I wanted, myself, first of all, I would take the course as the owner, even if I wasn't doing sales. But secondly, I think it'd be important. I don't care, I've got 2 decades experience and I'm learning something in every class we do. I think specifically focusing on how to read people, how to build relationships, how to handle objections. All those things are hugely important, especially if you're hiring younger reps. Most important, I think, Jason does a great job of this, but just very easy to talk to. And he kind of teaches you how to go about your conversations with clients, match their tone, do all these things that make the whole dialogue between you and a client much more comfortable for both of you. So I think it's important for business owners and salespeople. Like, I've got a girl that works under me who we're going to have take the whole course just because I thought it would be helpful for her. She's the first one that people talk to. So even if she just grabs some tidbits here and there, it'll be hugely helpful.
Absolutely. And yeah, so extending that into what would you tell a salesperson or sales professional who's discovers this and they're like, hey, is this worth my time? What would you share with them?
Yeah, I've actually had it happen since I started taking the course. So I just told them, they had about equal experience I did, actually even more than me in the construction industry. And I said, man, you're going to be in a class with people from all different industries, and that doesn't even matter because you're learning different tactics, techniques that may apply to them, but apply to you too. You're going to learn something new every day. You're going to have at least one or two things, if not three, from each week that you can work on or get better at. Even if you know everything in that chapter, there's something in there that you can get better at. Sales is like golf to me. You're going to have bad shots. No, you're never going to be perfect. All you can do is work on it and do the best you can, So I think that's it.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that.